Hey guys, it's Leo, and in this video I am going to play the advocate for AMAMIYA ELENA, our dear Cure Soleil from Star Twinkle Purikura. I am doing this because you guys know, Elena is my favorite Cure from Star Twinkle. I am loving her character. Cure Soleil is amazing. Cure Soleil is everything to me, and there has been some criticism towards her, and there are some people even saying that she's the worst cure ever, and on. And I feel like I should talk a little bit about her and about how I feel about her and brainstorm a little bit to try to understand where those people come from. The first thing, which is important to look at, I think it's like the most important thing, like to start this conversation, is to say that Elena is the first dark-skinned cure we've had in the whole Precure franchise. And that's obviously going to piss racists off, and we know there are lots of racists out there. But not only that, it's going to throw lots of people off that don't like inclusion, that don't like representation, and they say those things are used to pander to social justice and things like that. And really, like, I don't want to dwell on this, but this is one of the things that I think that strikes people up as like Elena's a bad character because of that. I mean, that's a type of racism as well if we think about it, but I think that there's a lot of this like, oh, they're just trying to pander to social justice. And well, it's hard to think like that when you think about Precure, because mainly their primary target and their main target is the people in Japan, like especially the children. So in a season with 4 cures, they're obviously going to do lots of things to attract children to those cures. And I don't think that they did put Elena as a dark-skinned person because of that, to try to sell her. But mostly, I think that the main reason for them to put her as a dark-skinned person is the message that they're trying to convey with her character, which is inclusion and how we're all the same. No matter what background we come from, no matter what culture we come from, we're all the same. We're all deserving of powers. We're all lovely people and beautiful souls, just like Elena, for example. And obviously, they're going a route with her character by showing a different culture, by showing a different family that doesn't exactly fit into the Japanese mode of the right and correct family, but how they should be embraced and how they should be loved and celebrated as well. That's what I think that will throw some people off at first glance. But then, in the season itself, we see that her character development is being not exactly what people are liking and what people enjoy about it, what people enjoy and what people want to see from a character. So let's think about how Precure usually develops its characters. When Precure started, we had characters coming from different places and different backgrounds and with very distinctive personalities coming together, forming a duo, and that friendship, that duo, would transform them forever. That happened in Futari wa Precure, Max Heart and Splash Star with Nagisa and Honoka and Saki and Mai. Those two duos, they had these distinctive personalities. They were very different from each other. They became friends because they were Precure, and then because of that, their characters were evolving while their friendship evolved as well. They became more and more friends, and then because of that, they became stronger as cures as well. So there are lots of different factors. This dynamic was repeated again in some later seasons and some more recent ones like Sweet, in a way, and Mahotsukai as well, if you think about it. But after Splash Star, we had a different take on characters. We had more of individuals and not exactly duos anymore. And obviously those individuals would come together to form teams, and their friendships would also change them. But the dynamics have changed, and then we had more focuses on them as individuals. And sometimes, I think that most times, and the representation that people actually like in Cures, that people think is the best writing in Cures, is when the characters start at one point and then throughout the season they change and they evolve, they transform into something else, and they finish the season in a different point. And that happens. I'm going to use some examples which come to in like the top of my mind as the best, some of the best writing we had in Precure as like character writing. You guys, I know this is not like the most popular opinion, but I really like the way they wrote characters in Kira Kira Precure. We had characters that started as like very distinctive people. Everyone in Kira Kira is very distinctive, and then they keep on evolving and changing. Like Himani, for example, she's very shy, but she's a big nerd and she likes to share things. But because of things that happened in her life, she closed herself and she didn't have the courage to talk about the things she loved the most. And then when the season progressed, she started changing that, and she started spreading her love for cooking in so many different ways that she didn't think were possible before. And then she kept on evolving throughout the season. The same happened with Yukari, with her closed personality and not trusting people, not wanting to open up to people, and not actually understanding herself, not actually thinking about herself. And then she understood, and she started looking inside more and tried to search for things that would make her happy. And you know, all of these characters in Kira Kira, they had motives, they had changes, and they kept on evolving, they kept on changing things about them and their personalities. But in Kira Kira itself, we had another character, another main character, who was not exactly like that, which was Akira. Akira, Cure Chocolate. She had a very caring, she is a dog, so she has this very loyal and caring personality. She is very polite, she's always helping people, she's very kind, she's very educated. She is like the perfect example of a knight. But she didn't evolve like the other characters in this season. And then in Precure, we always have focused episodes on each character. So in most cases, those focused episodes focused on an aspect of a life or the personality of the character. But in Akira's case, it was not like that. They didn't have anything to work in her character. And then what did they do? They put Miku, her sister, in the spotlight, and Miku became the center while Akira gravitated towards her. Miku was a sick girl, and Akira was always very concerned about her. She always thought of Miku in every step of her way, and it's part of her loyal personality. It's part of the dog that she is. And the focus on Akira, the way they found to develop Akira was to actually connect her to her sister in every single episode. Apart from the episode that we had Akira with Yukari, but that's another case. But I feel like the way they found to develop her was to connect her to her sister, and that's basically all development we had with Akira. So her personality didn't change much. The way that she thinks about herself or about the other people, the way she connects to people, it didn't change at all. She didn't evolve that. She just discovered she wanted to be a doctor because she wanted to save people like her sister. And that was it. That was it. But if you look at the internet, there are lots of people that are fans of Akira Cure Chocolate. People love her. Not all people, but lots of people love her. People love the way she fought. People loved her personality, her cool ways, her costumes, her design. People love her for different reasons. And the season not actually developing her doesn't stop people from loving her. And we also had lots of different good writing in Precure and character development in Precure. For example, in my opinion as well, Go Princess had in developing Minami and Kirara as what do I want to do with my life and how do I get further in what I want to do? How can I keep on improving who I want to be? And Haru had this as well, and that was also very interesting. We also usually have good writing when a villain turns into a Cure, like Cure Beat, Cure Passion specifically. Her arc was gorgeous, and Cure Scarlet as well. And those characters, they have a very big change. They have a very big transformation. And so for it to work, the season has to give them a deeper look, a deeper thought. We also had great writing in characters like Cure Beauty and Cure Peace in Smile. Both of them, they didn't really know what to do. Like Cure Beauty didn't really know what she wanted to be and what she wanted to do. In Cure Peace, she had this dream of drawing, and there was a big motive behind that, and both of them were feeling stuck. Beauty because she didn't know what to do, and Peace because she didn't feel confident enough. She had things holding her back. And the way the season wrote both of them trying to find this dream was beautiful. In this season, we also had Cure March, for example, who didn't really have a plot going on for her. Apart from her personality, there wasn't much going on for her as a person. And then what did they do to develop her? Develop her family and her relationship with her family, because she has a very big family, just like Elena. And that's the way they found to develop now. And was that good? Not exactly. Not for me. I don't think it was like the greatest development or the greatest representation, but it was the way they found. And then we had other characters that had like very great potential, but the writing ended up feeling not that good. One example is Yakushi Jisaya, Cure Anjay from Hakuto. She's a great character with a very nice personality. There was so much they could have done with her, but her character didn't go nowhere because the writing was all over the place. And they tried to make her evolve from like being what my mom wants me to be and being who I want to be and doing what I want to do. But ultimately, it felt so flat and it felt kind of out of nowhere that it wasn't good. But she is an example of something. She's an example of a type of character that had a place that she was, and she could have turned into someone else. And then she actually did. But you know, this process of transforming was not good for her. And you know, the way she transformed was not good for Cure Anjay. I think the same kind of happened to Cure Etoile as well. Her development at the start, like the conflict of the character was resolved very fast right at the start of the season. Like I think that in episode 5, her conflict was kind of like resolved, and she didn't have anything else, and so they gave her a relationship of love. She had feelings for Harry, and then that was it for her character. I don't think the writing was like spectacular for her character, but they did write a good conflict for her and for her to having to overcome that. What I want to say is that we have different ways of Precure focusing on a character. We have characters that go nowhere in a season, but they're still very popular because of the way they're presented. One example is Cure Honey. I don't even know if Cure Honey is that popular, but I remember when the season was airing, there were lots of people that liked her. Cure Honey is a person that had absolutely no conflict in her life. Her life was perfect. There were no problems. She had a good family. She had a good relationship with her parents and her sisters or brothers, I don't remember. And then she had grandparents as well. Everything was nice. Her life was great. And that translated to who she was as a Cure. She was always playing around. She was always singing her rice song. She was always playing with her maracas, with her form change. You know, everything about Cure Honey was so much fun to watch. She never had problems, and that translated so well to her actions and to her way of seeing the life she has. And the dialogues between her and the other characters, they were always full of her personality. And then she didn't have a conflict as well, but they found a way to sneak her into the plot of the season because of Precure Hunter and the way she nurtured and the way she cared for him. And Cure Honey is a type of character that didn't evolve. She doesn't have development in that sense, but she was fun as hell to watch. Another character that didn't have an evolution throughout the season is Alice from Doki Doki Precure. She is a kind of like a ready character. She was rich, she had this funny bubbly personality, and that was it. The whole season was that. And we got to know more about her butler, about her father, but her character stayed the same throughout the whole season. She was fun to watch as well. And now, going back to Elena, I know I could have dwelled on more about other characters, other seasons, other ways they developed different characters and good representations of character development and character writing. But I mean, 15 seasons, more like we're getting the 60 cure mark with Cure Cosmo. So things are big and huge in the Precure universe. But what I want to say is the fact that Elena is a type of character that so far doesn't have many conflicts in her life as well. We had 3 different episodes focused on her in Star Twinkle so far. We had an episode when she became Cure Soleil. We had an episode in which they went to another planet and she was the center of the conflict. And then we had another episode focused on herself, her family, and most specifically, her brother. And those 3 episodes, they were nice episodes, but I feel like I do understand when people say they don't like the development of Elena because it seems that she's not the center of those episodes. Apart from the Cure Soleil episode and episode She Was Born, it seems that she sometimes is not really the center core of the episode. If we get the episode in which she got the first pen, they went to another planet and then they met those dog-like creatures. Elena was the one that was able to communicate with those dogs and to learn more about their planet and learn more about what's going on there and the problem with the pen that was in that planet. So Elena felt to me like a conciliator because there were 2 different sides actually 3 different sides trying to get that pen in that episode, and she was the one amidst of that conflict. She was part of she wasn't exactly part of that conflict, but she ended up being part of it, and she wanted to try to resolve the situation in the best way possible. And that has a lot to do with Elena's personality and how she was presented to us. She's a sweet person, she's very athletic, she's very popular at school, but the most important thing is that she is the oldest sister of 5 or 6, I think it's 5. And so being the oldest, she has a lot of responsibility, and she is the perfect Onesama type because she's responsible, but she likes the position she's in. She feels comfortable in that position. It doesn't feel like it's a pressure to her. And usually we would think that that's a human thing, feeling pressured in those situations, but we cannot forget that there are people that deal with those situations easily, that have that in them, and they deal with that in an easy way. Like they were supposed to be the older sisters, the older brothers. Those type of people, they deal with those type of situations, they deal with pressure in a nice way, and that's how she was able to deal with that situation in the Cano planet. She was able to deal with that without pressure. She was able to fight. She was being pressured by Puduns and by the dogs. The dogs were feeling betrayed by her, and Puduns was pressuring her to take the pen. And then Capard came, tried to fight against her, and she was able to keep her mind in the right place. And, she was still Elena. So she works very well under pressure because of the situations like that. And then we had a problem with her brother. She was also able to maneuver the whole situation, and she was able to understand her brother's point and also her family's point, because she loves her family. She loves the way they are always very playful. They're always very heartwarming. They're always dancing. They're always playing songs. She loves that about her family, but she also understands where her brother comes from when he's saying that he doesn't like that outgoing type of thing that his family has. He's more of a shy type, but at the end he learned to embrace who his family is and to accept them that way, because that's their culture as well, and they're happy like that. And even if he actually now, after what happened and after his conflict, he feels part of the family. But it's interesting that Elena went through the same thing, and she learned to deal with that by herself. She learned to, gather her own thoughts and deal with that fact by herself. That was just what she did. And then I feel like Elena's character is not that type of character who's going to start here and end there and have this process of evolving, of evolution throughout the season, because she doesn't need that. She is a person who is responsible, she's kind, she's always trying to protect other people's smiles. She's always like the sun. She's a safe place for her family and for her friends. She's always there when people need her. That's why she's the sun of the group. So an evolution would not exactly fit her character. And it wouldn't exactly serve a purpose, because I don't feel like there's a different place for her to go. Because if that would be the case, the series would have presented it to us already. Like, maybe she doesn't like the position she's in, maybe she doesn't like being a florist, maybe she doesn't like working on her family shop, or she wants something different for her life. So far we have had nothing like that. Maybe trying something different will come later, we don't know, but being unsatisfied with her current life would not make sense for her, because of what we've seen so far, what we've been presented so far. She likes the position she's in, she's happy in the position she's in, so she doesn't necessarily need that. She doesn't necessarily need to be this type of character at all. So Elena also has this coolness about her, and I feel like when she turns into Cure Soleil, her kicks are amazing, her hair is so beautiful. I love the way they animate her hair in fights, and you know, she is my favorite character from Start Twinkle, and even though she doesn't have the focus that the other characters are having, she's having a different approach to her character, I still appreciate it, I still like it. I feel like we have great character writing in Precure, and sometimes this character writing doesn't need to go into those characters that will become someone else by the end of the season. This writing should also serve the purpose of fitting different types of characters that don't necessarily feel uncomfortable in their own skin, and characters who like who they are and they're just living their lives and just, you know, being who they are, not necessarily needing to change, because there are people that are like that. They're satisfied with the lives that they have, with their personalities and everything. And I feel like Elena is not the type of character that needs an evolution in the way that she thinks or in the way that she acts. The only thing is that I feel like Elena-centered episodes should be more centered on her. I agree with that type of thing. But that's my take on Elena and on character development. I know this was just a stream of consciousness. I was just brainstorming, I was just thinking out loud, but I wanted to share this with you guys. That's how I feel about Elena and how I feel about Cure Soleil. My baby, I love her so much. Anyways, guys, this was the video. I'm sorry, this is long, I know. But it was just like a big talk about my favorite. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye bye.